Dr. Tye and Courtney Caldwell are the co-founders of ShearShare, which is sort of like a hair B&B. We're going to get into the details of what that means in a bit. But first, a little bit about their credentials, you guys. This is wild. They have gotten the attention of the New York Times, the Washington Post, Forbes, and they even won Google Demo Day. Oh, but it was not always that way. This is their second shot.
On Second Shot, we cover 2 new stories every week to find out what kind of wisdom the world is dishing out today. And at the heart of every one of these stories are people, just like you and me, who've had to overcome incredible odds, to face the greatest challenges, to struggle and fight back. But now, we're changing it up. In these episodes, we're skipping the headlines and going straight to the people that inspire us to grow, to be bold, seek change, and act courageously when the rest of the world may not. A second look, a second chance, a second shot. This is Second Shot Sit-Downs with your host, Jenny Anchondo.
Welcome, everybody. Good to see you. I'm Jenny Anchondo. If this is your first time joining us, this is just basically a chance to hear about a couple that has had a true second shot. My goal, my intention for this episode is that if you have something burning inside of you where you need to step out a little bit and make it happen, well, they're going to give us the inspiration to do so. So welcome, Dr. Tye and Courtney.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, we are thrilled to be here. Thank you, Jen.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's crazy. Courtney and I were just talking about, we met at this entrepreneurship day, and I was doing some intros and emceeing, and you all were on this panel, and I thought, if this is not a second shot, I don't know what is, when I heard your story. So first of all, I want to give credit to what ShearShare is. So kind of explain what it is and how it exists today.
Yeah, no, sure. Well, it was a problem that we were trying to honestly just solve for ourselves. But ShearShare is a mobile app. It's actually the first mobile app that lets stylists rent salon space by the day in cities all over the world.
So who's like the biggest customer? Who's usually using this?
Licensed beauty and barbering professionals all over. Just hair, skin, and nails. Everything that encompasses beauty and barbering.
Yeah, if you are a hairstylist, a barber,
massage therapist,
technician, microblading artist, even makeup artist, and you want space to work by the day, but you don't want to sign a long-term contract. This makes you have more money in your pocket. You get to keep more of your hard-earned money, and you get to be flexible in where you get to service your clientele.
Because it is such a commitment, I imagine, especially when people are first starting out with their businesses. Oh man, I got to sign that lease.
Exactly.
Before you even have clients.
Yes, and now ShearShare allows you to quickly find affordable salon and barbershop space, again, to rent near you, no contracts and no commission.
The industry's been the same for over 100 years.
Right.
So
we're pretty consistent.
Just think about it in an archaic way, and then you come contemporary, and just think about how the industry's really changed. I think that when you think about commission-based salons and barbershops, when you think about booth rental, when you think about salon suites, I think people want to have that opportunity to not only brand themselves, but be their own business and be transient at the same time. So I think that's where ShearShare came in and just kind of gave them an opportunity to be risk takers.
We know that this has blown up. You guys, they've gotten crazy attention, all over the country. And you are Texas based.
Yes, we are.
Cool. A lot of our audience is from Texas, so I know they're giving big shout outs there. Let's kind of reverse it. Now that we know the glory is here and you're doing well, how did you decide to leave what both of you were doing and start this? We'll start with you, Tye, and then go to Courtney.
Well, I've been in the industry for over a quarter of a century, so 26 years, been a salon owner for over 2 decades. I think that what really gave me that hunch, that wherewithal to just be that risk taker was just having the gift. I've been actually utilizing scissors and clippers and all different types of tools since I was 11. And so I didn't think that this was going to be an actual job or career for me. I actually was going to school for sports medicine. And then I was sitting in class one day and I said, you know what? I'd rather be making money just sitting here, just doing the basics before I started taking the courses that needed to get me into sports medicine. And I decided, you know what? I'm done with this, and decided to go to barber and beauty school.
Quick detour on that. So often when you're thinking about the school trajectory and what you're going to do, I think that we think that our passions are not career viable.
Right.
So do you think there was anything to that where you're thinking, sports medicine, now that's a career?
Well, it was, because I actually moved here when I was 15 from Arkansas to Dallas, and I was a football player, basketball player, and a track athlete. And I decided to focus really on my academics because, you know, it's just a different level of academics. And I said, okay, well, I want to stay connected to sports. And that's why I decided to do the sports medicine route, just to stay connected. And, you know, when you have that love and passion for it, you'd rather be doing it than to be working around it. And, you know, that's where that career change became adamant that I don't want to be a part of this.
So then you went into the hair care world, opened up this salon. Then and from the way I understand it, you guys were kind of doing this like on the side, coordinating these rentals before the app was born, right?
Yeah, you know, after leaving school and working at a salon for 6 years, I decided to open my own shop. And it's funny because you just never know how life is going to take a turn. And so I had a nice shop, one of the best shops in Plano for like 3 years, and decided to rebrand and expand. So I expanded to suites. And lo and behold, I saw the industry changing, but I did not know it was changing that rapidly, and how people were really starting to be individualized during the social media, this whole tech world, and everybody just on their phones. And I said, you know what? After I, expanded, I saw my suites went empty for such a long time. And a stylist gave me a call and wanted to rent by the day. She is actually leaving Plano and moving to the southern sector of Dallas, but she was leaving like 15 to 25 clients. And she said, you know what, Dr. Tye, I came here because someone told me to come here and you had a nice spot and I like it. And then she said, I looked at all the accolades that you won as far as being a salon and barbershop owner. And she said, I would love to utilize your spot, but not long term. I don't want to sign a lease, nor do I want to sign a contract. I just want to work a couple of days a week, every other week, to keep my clients satisfied.
So that kind of sparked the idea of like, oh, she's going to rent this space. And I wonder if there are others. Is that kind of like how
it was exactly like that. And I was a little apprehensive until I went home and I talked to my wife about it. And she was like, who does this? Laughing at me.
Honestly, I was like, wait a minute, you got a phone call? And she said, what? Like, that's not how we find professional space to rent in this industry. Like, are you sure that wasn't a scam?
No.
And he was like, babe, I talked to her myself. I'm just going to give it a try. He loves this industry. He'll always tell you that he loves this industry more today than he did when he first started almost 6 years ago. And so he said, I just want to be helpful. And then plus, that suite was just giving us nothing. So he'd rather make some money on dollars versus going empty.
Exactly.
So Courtney, what were you doing when you guys decided to start this tech company?
Oh, I was very happy and comfortable in my corporate America mind frame. And I've been doing that for 20 plus years or so. At this point
in time,
I loved it. At this point in time, I was working at Oracle. So I was responsible for digital demand generation across 5 continents, had so many different lines of businesses that I was supporting. And I saw an end to the road. I really thought I was going to retire from Oracle. Like, I found my home. And then my husband came home and said, I have this idea. And I was like, okay, because he's the risk taker in the family.
Yes, you guys are like Heath and I.
Oh my God.
Where there's one person that's just jumping off, they're just doing things. You're like, wait, I've got retirement ahead. I've got a 401k to think about.
Thank you. I was very comfortable with the golden handcuffs. But this man right here, honestly, he will take my hand every day and he's like, we're running off of that ledge and let's go. And I'm always like, all right, let's do it. We'll figure it out.
I think what she didn't realize is how much of a rock star she was. There's a lot of a lot of great leaders in companies, CEOs, presidents, but they always have a great number 2. And sometimes that number 2 can play a number 1 or a number 1B. So sometimes when you think about yourself as a number 2, you're really a number 1. And I recognize that in her with the different jobs. So after she left Oracle, she did some consulting. And she took companies to the next level when it came to marketing, when it came to digital marketing. And I always wished, even when I was running my salon and barbershop, that I had a talent like her. And I said, one day,
can't afford her.
I can't afford you. I was like, one day God is going to bless me to utilize her skill set. And that's what happened.
Yeah. Okay, this isn't a relationship show per se, but I love what you're demonstrating and recognizing the skills of your partner.
Oh yeah.
And that's super valuable in a marriage, I imagine. So you kind of thought, okay, I'm running, I'm doing my thing. I see the end of the way. I'm guessing making good money,
making great money. Yeah, traveling, loving it. Loving it.
So what made you decide to leave? Because I think that would be really hard. It's easy to go start something when you have nothing to lose.
Right. Right.
When you have built and sustained something, and you've got a child to support, you've got a little guy
whole family
to think about. Not really little guy, but he's grown up now. But you have a family to think about.
Yeah.
That's a little bit harder to leave that security, I imagine.
It was, especially as a mom, because you have so much mom guilt that you bring into everything, right? And you're right. Our son Trey, at the time, he was middle school-ish when we first started
getting ready to start middle school.
Yeah. And now
that's a hard time. You want to be stable.
You're right. There's so much transition that they're going through that you want to make sure that you're not adding to that. But now he's a first-year cadet and football player at the Air Force Academy, and we could not be more proud of that kid.
Amazing.
But going back, it was a lot of questions that we had to ask ourselves. We said, what would life even look like if we did this thing by ourselves? He knew what that world felt like because he was so used to having his own business, being what I call the most unemployable person that I know on the face of the earth.
Yeah.
So he's always been used to that, but I'm used to walking into an organization.
Yeah.
Courtney, here's your laptop. Miss Caldwell, here's your assistant. These are your and I had to completely change my perspective about what definition of risk was going to look like for us.
I wanted her to think about it as a calculated risk. I wanted to give her just a outlook, with foresight to say, okay, this is what we can do. If you decide you want to do it, it'd be great for us. If not, I still have staff at the shop and we can still live off minimal. We just have to understand we got to pull back, scale back in our spend, scale back in our lifestyle. And that's how we was going to think about it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Did you have to change your lifestyle when you were first going into
no doubt, no doubt.
Yes.
And was that was that kind of like, ooh, that's a bummer?
It was not a bummer. I'll say this. It was not a bummer because I knew that, like, whatever this man puts his mind to, like, his secret sauce is, like, turning something into, like, gold and adding zeros to something. So I knew that it was going to be a great idea. And it was a great idea once we had that first experience. And the stylist loved it. And she started sharing across our personal mobile numbers to other stylists when we were getting phone calls. But I knew that it was going to be a great thing for us to do, and I knew that I wanted to do something with my husband together because sometimes it's hard when you're traveling to India or you over in Japan and you got the family at home and you come back and you're walking the door and you're just so pumped and geeked about sharing your experience, and they've been there, doing algebra homework, or maybe there was an incident at school that happened, and so we were on the same path, but it always feels like your cadence is a little bit off because you're not living like the exact same life. And so for us, this was like, oh, this is going to be easy because now we're running at the same exact pace.
So how did you figure, how do you go find somebody to make an app?
Right.
I mean, I don't know those kind of people.
We thought we knew because I had been in the tech world, I've been surrounded by engineers and not directly working with them, but kind of been in that kind of space. And so I asked a couple of people and they said, wow, that's a good idea, but I don't want to leave my cushiony corporate America job. Or they say, yeah, I can maybe try to do that, but maybe on the weekends. And we're like, no, we need somebody who's going to be in this with us.
And see, I guess my default is being a leader. I'm always big on relationships.
Oh, yeah.
And I knew that traveling back from Silicon Valley when she was working in Redwood City at Oracle, I knew that she had connections. She started to build relationships. And there was this one young lady who's actually on our advisory board now. Her name is T.D. Lowe. And before we even really knew her, I was like, Courtney, you remember that young lady you went to lunch with that I didn't get a chance to go with that day? I was like, she talked about startups. And we didn't know anything about startups at the time. I'm going to school, I'm writing my book and all these things. And I was like, call her. Courtney called her up and we told her that we had an idea. We just want to run it by her. We don't really know if we can do it or not, but let's run it by you. And I picked the phone up, talked to her for a second and told her what we were doing manually. And the phone just went like plop. And so we didn't know if the phone had dropped the call. She said, guys, I'm sorry.
Quiet.
She said, I'm sorry. That's $1 billion idea.
Yeah.
And we were like, what can we do? We don't even know where to start.
That's the person that we asked, how do you build an app if you don't know how to code? And she said, well, try to find a technical co-founder. We're like, okay, well, we tried that. We don't have one of those. So now what?
Yeah.
And she said, well, I have this third-party engineering firm that I've worked with in the past. I will introduce you guys. Now, unbeknownst to us, again, I had one lunch with this lady who was she was great. And again, she was in this whole startup world. We did not know what a startup was.
Absolutely.
We didn't know what an angel investor was. We didn't know people would give you money to go build your dream. No idea.
Okay, pause on that for a second.
Okay.
Here's the thing that I think people think is they think, oh, well, I didn't go to business school. I don't know what an angel investor is. And I know these are the thoughts that go through my head when I'm thinking things too. Well, how do you, I don't know, Matt, do you know somebody who makes an app?
I don't. No, I
So
do
Matt,
not. I
so
certainly
Matt's
don't
my
make
one
it
connection, producer Matt. So that's a different mindset to me.
Yeah.
Somebody who kind of knows what, we don't know what a startup is.
Yeah.
Had no idea.
But
again, that risk taker and my husband, and because I believed in this thing so much, this man I trust with my entire being. So like having to make a difficult decision at work, or maybe having to let somebody go, or trying to figure out how to build something from nothing. We've done that before in our marriage, right? And so I'm
Raising
like,
a child.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And he got acquired. So I think we've done, we've done
He's doing okay.
Right, he's doing okay. So I think
Yeah.
we're doing pretty well. I mean, and the best companies, like the most successful companies, always have the best examples and models for leadership. And
Yeah.
we already had that. So I figured whatever we choose to do next is going to be amazing.
There were some groups, some sort of like entrepreneur groups that you both were a part of.
Yes.
Can you talk about that and like how do you get in? How do you get into that kind
Yeah.
of training? How do you
Right.
find out about it?
Yeah. I guess what really was the spark is when we got introduced to the third-party engineering firm. They entered us into a contest that we knew nothing about.
Right.
So we get a call on a Wednesday saying, Tye and Courtney, there's a tech cocktail event, and we entered you guys. It's like 1,500 startups, and we would love for you guys to come. Are you able to come? We was like, when is it? It was like, it's Saturday. It was like, Saturday is Wednesday, literally the Wednesday night. So basically Thursday, and he was like, well, you guys didn't know anything about it. It was like, we knew nothing about it. She was like, well, don't worry about it. Don't worry about coming, maybe next time. And I talked to Courtney. Now, again, me being the risk taker, I was like, I think we should go. And my son was out of school that Friday, so we left. We left Friday morning. So we booked the flight Thursday, took off Friday, and went to go to this event. Out of 1,500, we got into the top 100. That top 100 put us in the Tech Co Startup of the Year event, which happened 2 months later. Went to that, got into the top 5. So we thought, okay, we're good. We've been recognized.
Right,
No,
we're
we can
happy.
continue being
That
worked.
exposure is
that on the
plenty for us.
resume.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
check and check.
we were going to go to the back and work on a pitch. We had never done a pitch before. And so Courtney and I working together, I had done some speaking engagements. She did some speaking. So we could say, okay, well, we'll let you do the pitch, and I can coach you up. So we went back there, went in the top 5. Everybody did their pitch, did a 5-minute pitch, 2-minute Q&A, and we came out the winners of Tech Co Startup of the Year.
Which is crazy. Again, first time experience in the Valley, amount startups who were like unbelievable. But that was like you said, and that kind of spearheaded everything.
Yeah.
Because from there we went to 500 startups, which is one of the top accelerators in the world for tech startups.
Yes.
But you at the time you didn't know it.
No.
No, I
didn't know
couldn't have
nothing.
spelled startup. I mean, that world was just so foreign from us. And I can't believe that we've learned so much vernacular and learned so much ins and outs and have built relationships, again, because going back to relationships and how important they are, it's been amazing.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Matt. When I hear that, that's super inspiring for me because especially when you're in one industry for so long.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying, Matt? Like we know all the, lingo for TV, radio,
Right, podcast.
Right. And I mean, I've certainly thought about that in the past. And the thing that does, I think, trip a lot of people up is like, I don't even know where to start. Like, I don't even know what I don't know. And am I going to make a mistake from my first step? And so it's nice to hear that you did the right things, right? You reached out to people that you trusted. You reached out to people for help, and went from there. I think that it could serve as an example for a lot of people.
Relationships are powerful. I think that when I think about how, how we just jumped out there, my experience was running the salon, running the barbershop, teaching, educating, mentoring. So the leadership qualities were there.
Okay.
The relationships were there. I think what really helped me was when I talked to her about the corporate world, understanding the lingo, understanding digital marketing, understanding tech from some perspective. So when I moved when we were going back and forth to the Valley, I decided to just be a student again and decided to learn. So I didn't speak for like 3 weeks.
Tell me about our schedule going to the Valley.
Okay.
Yeah, what was that schedule like?
The schedule was crazy. So we leave every Sunday, come back every Thursday. Because our son was playing football, he was in sports, and we wanted to make sure that we had touch
This
points.
is the Texas family,
For 1
everybody.
year.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think it was exciting when I think back.
So did your family help out? Do you guys have family here helping out?
He's number 7 of 8 kids, and all the siblings live here in the area except one. Right. So it was super helpful at that point in time. My mother would come up. My grandmother, so Trey's great-great-grandmother, would come up and sit with him. I can't believe we did that for a little over a year. But every Sunday, we jump on a plane, go to the Valley.
And you were
every
going there
Thursday
because
we come
those were
back.
the relationships you needed to have to.
And we were part of
create
this program, this
part of
startup program.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you want to be there to soak up as so much information as possible, because as Tye always says, there's something just so serendipitous about being around other people who are trying to do what you're trying to do.
And it's just really an ecosystem. They get it. Silicon Valley gets it. This is what they do. This is what they push out every day. It's no big deal to them.
Yeah.
Oh, that is awesome. Okay, you guys, we have heard a lot about the good stuff, the good advice. In the next segment, we're going to get into some of the nitty gritty. What was the hardest part? What were some of the challenges? What would they have maybe done differently, if anything? We'll talk about that in the second segment of Second Shot Sit Downs. Quick break to tell you about, a company that has saved us in so many different ways. You've heard us talk about myllc.com. So this is the space that we've gone to when we are setting up LLCs. They also set up corporations. And what they do is they make sure that all the legal stuff is checked off. And they also make sure that it's sent to you in the most succinct, efficient way. So that's one thing. The other thing that you get is, I'm somebody that I was really new to business. I did not study business. This is really a new part of my experience. So I was able to, get them on the phone and have them explain what we were doing and what we were walking through. So they have actually made a really generous offer for our listeners. You're going to get $99 off the formation of a new LLC. So if you are starting a big business or a corporation, this works. Also, if you're somebody who's doing kind of a side hustle, you got to protect that money in that business and put it in something separate and create an LLC for it. So the code is 99myllc, or you can go to myllc.com/secondshot and then go through, and that will give you the opportunity to save $99 off the formation of an LLC or a corporation. You guys know we wouldn't have anybody on here if we didn't believe in them 1,000,000%, and if we hadn't used them ourselves over and over and over again. So again, myllc.com/secondshot, or use the code 99myllc. Welcome back into Second Shot Sit Downs. We are hanging out with Dr. Tye and Courtney Caldwell, who are the co-founders of ShearShare. Producer Matt also in the house today.
Hello.
And you know what? I didn't even give love to the new set that we are on.
It's great, isn't it? Yeah.
We love it.
Isn't this cool?
Great. Yeah, it is.
Really nice.
I'm gonna start my own tech
Very
startup. Show my set.
Do it.
So if you're listening on iTunes or Spotify or iHeartRadio or any of the other platforms, you have no clue what I'm talking about. But if you're watching on YouTube or on Facebook or one of the other video services, then you are seeing our chic new set. We had to, up the ante for our guests today.
Oh.
And producer Matt, steadfast with a really good question he brought up in the break, and I wanted everybody to be able to hear the answer.
Well, it may come as some surprise, but I was not very familiar with the salon industry for quite a while in my life.
the only one.
I went to the same barber for I think 20 years.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize that it worked the way it does, where you're not necessarily an employee of the salon, but you're maybe renting space, or it may work different in different places. But a lot of people do that model where they're renting a space out, in a salon.
Right.
And so I was curious, listening to what you guys do, if for the user side, is this something that people would, early on in their career, would they make a lot of mistakes? Would they sign on to leases that maybe they couldn't afford, or get underwater, or even be taken advantage of?
Because they have no clients yet?
Right.
Is that kind of what you're thinking?
Good question, Matt.
That's a great question. I'm sure Courtney going to follow what I'm about to say. I think that what makes us unique and what makes us grand as far as the future of beauty and the future of renting space is easy, because so many kids are coming out of school and they have no book of business. Right. They have no clientele. They just can't go into a salon or a barbershop and rent a space and pay that weekly booth rent, that monthly booth rent. And then you have some people that go into commission-based salons and they're not given the opportunity to start working because they have to train, they have to learn the culture, they have to learn how to work with the team. And I think that they want to just really get in after they've gotten this training, after they've gotten this education, because they put their time, their efforts, and their money into it. I think what makes ShearShare such a great platform is that now you can work by the day, and we can reach prices anywhere from $25 all the way up to $300. $350, and in one salon in New York is like $500 a day. So
Just to rent.
Just to rent. So
you better be booking those clients that day.
exactly. So it works really good for those kids coming out of school, but it also works really well for those who've been in the industry for a long time, who don't want to sign a contract, who want to go take care of their clients, and then choose some place that's going to work for their client's personality. Courtney, what you say?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good question, Matt. We call people who do hair at home kitchen-ticians, right? So sometimes you maybe have a braider and that person tells you to just come into my living room and you spend the 4 hours, whatever.
Is that illegal though?
It's not.
It's not illegal, but when you think about like the sanitation laws, and you think about privacy, those things are very concerning.
Well, let me answer it. It's not legal to start a business in your home.
Right.
Okay, but like so your girlfriend could come over and get her hair braided.
Right. Yeah. But when you then tell that girlfriend, hey, I just washed your hair in my sink and now, that bill's like $250, they're going to look at you like you're crazy. They're like, wait a minute, I'm in your living room. Like your little toddler just crawled by. Like that's a little strange to me. Yeah. So
I'm watching Peppa Pig.
Right. Yeah. That's not worth $250.
A lot of liability issues.
So many different liability issues. So, we wanted to take all of those challenges, all those hurdles away and say the most basic need that a stylist needs, which is working at a professional salon space, we're going to provide that for you. And when you want it, where you want it, and you're going to tell us what amenities you want, you're going to tell us location, you're going to tell us the price that you want to pay and when you want to pay that price. And we're going to give that to you.
Amazing. It's such a good idea. And I do like that question too, Matt. Yeah. So let's talk about mistakes. Yeah. We've told everybody about, the things that you've done and really the risks that you've taken, which is impressive. But what do you think along the way? Gosh, that was a big mistake and I wish we would have done it differently.
Yeah.
I think that really hiring it was a great thing to get the third-party engineering team, but we kept them too long.
Yeah, I would agree.
And so we emptied out our bank account, trying to keep this team to help build our tech platform, and we realized we were just running out of money. And anytime we went and talked to investors, they were like, do you have a tech team in-house? And we were like, no, we have a third party. They would not put their hands on us. They would not invest any money because you're paying third-party firms by the hour, and your in-house team is working when you need them to all the time to build your company.
Yeah. That is great advice. Would you agree that was a step? Or what do you think when you look back?
Well, we didn't know. We didn't know that, we were building a tech startup, right? And so you kind of need your tech in-house. But we always figured, okay, I know marketing operations. He's the subject matter expert when it comes to beauty and barbering. And he literally drew on a Chipotle napkin, if I can share. He drew on a Chipotle napkin every screen of the ShearShare app. So when we were sitting.
It's very professional.
Yeah, we're extremely professional. This is back when we were eating rice and beans to save up all the money.
And that is a Chipotle plug, so look us up.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, we would love to have Chipotle as a sponsor. But no, he slid the Chipotle napkin, I'll never forget this, across the table at the engineers and said, okay, I need you to build that. But we only had that because we had 3 years of asking questions, 3 years of directional data of these stylists who had our personal phone number saying, I need this. These are the kind of questions I need to have answered before I go rent that space. And the salon owners also asking us the same questions over and over and over again. So by the time we decided to turn this idea into an app, we knew exactly what it needed to look like.
The hardest thing was the apprehension from both parties. So the stylists and the barbers and the licensed professional had apprehensions about going to a salon that didn't fit their needs. And then the owners had apprehensions about who's coming in here. Are they going to fit our culture? Are they going to be in here for professional use only? Are they going to steal anything? Are they going to break anything? So just all fair questions. And me having that experience on the ownership side and the licensed professional side, I was able to speak to them directly. So like Courtney said, 3 years of directional data, 3 years of touch points, 3 years of making everyone comfortable, understanding what we were building just really helped. And so when you're doing something like that, you're getting people referred all the time. So we started building relationships and referrals just through that.
So it was 3 years of doing this manually.
Manually.
The app.
Yes.
What year did you start doing it manually?
Oh, see, 2012. We started matching stylists to empty salon space.
And 2015 was when you started the app.
2015 was when we established our LLC. We didn't we didn't even say let's do this.
We were still manually doing it.
Exactly. And then 2016 we launched our private beta, and then beginning of 2017 our public beta.
Okay, so here we are 3 years later.
3 years.
How does somebody get money for something like this? I mean, you guys had good jobs before, but that doesn't fund a whole.
No, it does not. A whole company. No, it does not.
Yeah, coming out of 500, they had demo day. at 500 Startups. We got our first angel investor coming out of there.
Yes.
And so having an angel investor again with relationships, and then we were introduced to a lot of VCs, venture capitalists in the Bay Area, in Silicon Valley. So we were able to go visit, and then having that relationship with investors through 500 Startups just kind of catapulted us in a whole nother different world.
So you're going and sort of selling yourselves to them, or not yourselves, but
you're pitching.
You're pitching.
Selling ourselves and our vision. Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
gosh,
we did like hundreds of meetings, like literally hundreds of meetings to raise money for ShearShare.
So of the hundreds of meetings, like how many said, I'm going to give you some money?
We have fewer than 10 investors.
Yes.
So like 200, think about like 200 plus meetings, and we have 10 investors that we have chosen because we have to choose them as well to come along this ride with us.
So were there, but that was like 10 yeses out of 10 mutual.
10 yeses, out of about 160 or close to 200 no's.
Exactly.
So that's super key, you guys, too, if you're kind of hearing this story and thinking, oh, wow, must be nice. They had these great jobs and they had money to do it. And all these people are wanting to invest. So if they would have said, if they would have gotten through, say, like the first 75 and everybody had said no and stopped, imagine, like this would be nothing. Like we wouldn't even be here today.
No. And we knew going into it that even though we may have heard a no, it wasn't going to mean anything to us. We just knew that, okay, that's not the person that we're supposed to be on this earth for to help make rich. Like we're moving on to the next person.
So, I like that. So, okay, so that's not the next person. So we're here to make rich. I think that's a good reframing. And I imagine there's got to be a lot of reframing with it's rejection in those ways. But you reframed that.
Out of those 10, we did have 2 that said no that are investors now.
Yeah, right. They came back to us.
Came on
they
back.
Came back.
Came
back. Come to find out.
Honestly, when you start to get, and we didn't try this, but when you start to get a little bit of press and media, like we're the first Texas startup to win Google Demo Day. I mean, that's amazing because they only bring like a dozen of startups from around the world to this one day, and there are tons of investors that are sitting in that room. And so when you start to pick up a little bit of press, people will reach back out and say, I think we need to chat again.
Well, and I'm glad that you were open to it too, instead of being, sometimes people will write somebody off and, but they just need a little more proof.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
fine, right?
No,
like you did it.
Yeah, it's not a slap in the face. No, it could be like a not right now. That's still a no.
Exactly.
And so those were not right now, and end up finding out that an investor that they knew invested in us, so they decided to invest.
Yeah.
Relationships again.
That's right.
So like again, going back to those relationships and
Absolutely.
those connections. I think it's really interesting that you guys have forged away. And I guess a similar, it's your industry, Dr. Tye, but really not, because we're talking about an
Tech
app.
now, right? Yeah.
How long does it take to make money on something like this?
Oh yeah. Well, so the very first day that we launched our app in the Google Play Store, we had a booking. And that was back when it was just the two of us. So we were right side up, from a cap table standpoint. But yeah, from day one, we were making money on ShearShare.
Wow.
On the app. Yeah.
Oh, that's
crazy.
Great.
Yeah.
And when you talked about the rice and beans days.
Oh yeah.
I think most everybody's been there at one point or another.
Yes.
You guys chose to go there because you were starting down this venture.
Yeah.
Did you give yourselves a timeline like, okay, we're going to do this for a year, 5 years, 10 years, and then whatever? Or did you didn't give
No, we were all in. I was all in.
Yeah, I don't think we didn't give ourselves a timeline. We just wanted to see how far we could go. And once we started realizing that, other people liked what we were doing and we were building a viable company, and we were changing lives, and we were creating jobs.
Right.
We realized that, okay, this can go as long as we want it to go, and there's no end yet.
Yeah. I have to admit, though, when he came to me and said, okay, we wiped out our savings account, and that was painful.
Oof.
And then he said, we need to get rid of the 401k.
I'm scared.
Because we're planners. Like, are you kidding me? I have, when I was making no money, I contributed to the 401k.
Yeah.
No money.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. That was my exact response. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, savings, okay, I know we can build that back up, whatever, that's liquid. But 401k, you want to drain, like, the proverbial tank?
Yeah.
That was so foreign to me, but I wish we had done it earlier now.
I'm laughing because we're believers, honestly, and we just go back to sowing.
Yeah.
And we looked at it sowing a seed to our business and knowing that the fruit was going to come.
Right.
Now, we didn't know how long it was going to take. We know that, once you sow, the seed doesn't produce fruit right away. So we knew that we would do that. And believe it or not, 13 weeks later, we made $1 million investment.
Yeah. It's crazy. But again,
I believe it.
Hundreds
I
of
believe
meetings.
it, but it's scary.
Yeah,
It's scary
it
in them,
is.
especially for people like us who are really those planners. And like, you know, I have my dad in the back of my head saying, you know, and trust me, we're not saying everybody go cash out your 401k
Exactly.
for like
We're not saying
some
that.
new
Not saying
car or
that.
something
No,
like
no,
that.
no.
But it's like you guys had intention and plan.
Yeah, we were gonna bet on ourselves.
Yes, you were betting on yourselves. It's not like they, you know, wanted to go buy a new car.
No.
You know, I
Not at
think
all.
those are very different things, but still that is very scary.
Yeah.
Risky.
And today, like to think about it, like if we had said no at meeting 75, right?
Yep.
I mean, we wouldn't hear from salon and barbershop owners around the country saying, "Thank you, ShearShare, because you're helping me keep my business open."
Exactly, because they need this. They need
Exactly,
to stay
exactly.
going.
Yeah.
Let's get into our second shot franchise questions.
Yeah.
I think it's fun to, you know, now that we know them a little bit, you guys, we can kind of get to know a little bit more about what makes them tick. And one of the most fascinating things for me to hear is, you know, the top 3 people that someone would like to meet. Now they have to be living. And the reason I say that is because I like to put this out as really like a true intention, because I want you to meet these people like for real.
Okay.
And everybody that's sat in your chair have been just such purposeful and impressive people. And so, okay, who wants to start? Who's got their 3? Okay.
I've met the individual, but I haven't. I've only met
Like
him
gotten sit down time.
Yes, Irving Magic
I
Johnson.
knew it. I knew it. I knew.
Yes. Okay. You're the first one to say him.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're the first one.
Okay. For me, what, any other 2?
No, go ahead. I'm just gonna let you.
Go one.
Okay. Well, I would say Michelle Obama.
Okay.
I mean, duh.
Yeah.
But I know my other 2.
She's
already.
a popular
I'm
one.
gonna go ahead and say my other 2.
Go ahead.
Okay. Then I would say Amanda Seals.
Okay.
She's an author, and she's on The View now. No, not The View. She's on The Real.
The Real.
Okay. Okay. Yes.
Correspondent on The
Amanda.
Real, and then Beyonce. So
I mean, that's a solid
I
list.
know. And we're closer to Beyonce now because Kim Kimball, who is Beyonce's personal hairstylist, is an advisor for ShearShare. So we're 1 degree of separation.
It's gonna happen.
It's closer. It's
and
closer.
she's got some hair.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, you know, that can be like a good hair ad.
And
And her mom was a salon owner too, by the way.
Exactly.
It's totally happening.
Yeah.
Wait, and aren't they from
I know.
Texas?
Yeah,
Yes, Houston.
Yeah,
I know.
so that's
it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
And I'll
Real,
say John Paul DeJour, Paul Mitchell.
Yeah.
Oh,
Definitely.
okay.
Yeah,
Makes total
I love
Salon
him.
world.
Yeah.
I love his story. I love his, and one more, probably be Crazy Kevin Hart.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I
like your
want to
list.
be in on that one.
I like your list.
I like
Can I
that.
come?
Yeah,
Yeah, then you guys get 6.
Yeah.
Then you get 6.
Yeah.
Okay, the other question I like to ask people, just because it just gives a sense of like your psyche, and I like to hear the explanation behind it.
Okay.
If you got to choose, would you choose that life be wholly fair or wholly unfair for you?
unfair for me.
Okay, why?
Because I think that in this social media driven age now, everybody's starting from the same starting point. But I think that most people take the easy route and they don't want to go through the road less traveled. And I think it's unfair in the road less traveled, but it builds up mental psyche. It builds up strength, and it builds up things within yourself that you would never know. And taking the road always traveled when it's fair, you don't learn about yourself.
You don't learn a darn thing when somebody gives you something, do you?
You are so good. And see, that's why I married this man. I was honestly going to say fair, but but now as I hear you talking,
There's no wrong answer with
no,
this.
oh yeah, no, but I was just thinking in myself how I would logically spin that. I'm going to say unfair, only because I feel like that's been my life period. So I don't even know what it would look like to live an easy life. Like I don't know if we would have started ShearShare if God had told us this is all the stuff that you're gonna have to endure. Do you want to? I would say, nah, I'm good. So I'm gonna say, yeah, I need a little bit of a oomph to keep going. So definitely unfair.
That's interesting. That's really interesting. And isn't that the truth? Sometimes you would have never chosen the path that you're on.
Never.
You would have known all the ups and downs and stuff, but here you are.
That's
here
the
you are.
leadership in me. God can help.
So the last question, Matt, isn't it interesting to see these?
Yeah, I really like these.
Have you changed your own personal answer to fair or unfair?
I know mine. I think my reasoning is a little bit different than most people's, but I do know my answer to that.
Okay, well then.
Are you wanting to hear it now?
Yeah, we gotta hear it, Matt.
Now I need to hear it.
So I've always thought unfair was the right choice, and partially because I think, most people say, unfair things happen to you and that's the way it is and it builds character. But I've looked back at the breaks that I've gotten in my life and the things that have fallen my way. And if I thought about if it was truly fair, did I put in 100% effort on this, and did I get 100% of result, or did I put in 70% effort and I lucked out and I got lucky and I got something good that fell my way? So if life were fair, I think we would be judged by only our actions, and we would only get the fruits of our labor. But every now and then you get a lucky break, and I think people are able to take advantage of that, and it works out in their favor. So I would much rather life to be unfair for those chances at luck rather than only fair.
He's a wise man.
Yeah.
He's got it going on.
I like that, man.
You answered it much more thoroughly, but we're on the same trajectory.
Yeah,
I've been hearing this question for a while, and I've been thinking about it.
Jake says favor ain't fair.
Yeah, favor's not fair.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
True.
I mean, it's true.
Yeah.
So last question here, and someday I'm going to get all these together and actually make a book of it, but this is a a hypothetical. Say we're going to give you a book deal.
Okay.
And it's going to go out to every single person in the world who needs a second shot. That person who's down and out, but they need that second breath, that second look, that second shot. The book is one line.
Okay.
What's the one line that you put in that book? Essentially, this is one piece of advice for that person. Go ahead, Courtney. You got yours?
Yes, definitely. I'm going to say, feed what you want to live and starve what you want to die.
Feed what you want to live, starve what you want to die. Give all your energy and attention.
Yeah, definitely.
That's
and
beautiful.
Be consistent and you're going to be passionate about something. Feed that thing. If you feel bad energy around you, get rid of those people who, bring you down. But feed what you want to live and starve what you want to die.
So powerful.
Yeah.
What about you?
3 peas and a corn.
You have to explain that.
Okay.
I know the backstory. But
Wait, we're eating vegetables?
3
Right,
peas
your
and a
veggies.
corn, building powerful relationships. I learned one thing growing up when we were gardening, because we had a huge garden.
Yeah.
My mom would always chop the holes in the ground, and she would tell us to put the seeds in. And I never forget, we was planting peas, and she says put in 3 peas and a corn. I did not understand that for years. And then one day I had a conversation with my mom, and she says that the corn helps catch the peas and pull them up faster. So it takes relationships of mentors, people who've been been where you're trying to go, to kind of help you get past a lot of those things that you're going to have to go through anyway. You're going to go through the same things everyone else went through, but you need people to help you see the forest for the trees. And those 3 peas, once they germinate, that corn germinates and catches a hold to that peas germinating. Corns grow tall, and they grow fast. And so that corn won't come up with the peas, it'll just help catch that pea and pull it on out the ground.
Push the pea out the ground.
Oh.
Isn't that amazing? I never would have guessed that.
I didn't
3
know.
peas
First
and a
of all,
corn.
didn't know that about gardening.
Yeah.
Second of all, what a metaphor for life, and really having people around you. And both of yours are sort of cohesive in the way that you want to feed those people who are helping.
Sowing and reaping.
Never thought about that.
I know. Right?
Yeah, that's like a perfect little dynamic duo and a perfect way to end. Go ahead and tell everybody where, if somebody's a salon professional and they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know about this, where can everybody find you, learn more about your journey, more about the app and everything?
Oh, definitely. Well, we're ShearShare, first of all, everywhere. That's ShearShare. Go ahead and follow us on Instagram. If you ever want to get a hold of myself or Dr. Tye, DM our team there on our Instagram channel, and they'll get you in contact with us. But go to the App Store, go to Google Play, and ShearShare, the app, is a free download. Also, take over on ShearShare.com.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You got it all.
Done.
Matt Stoker 1, where can everybody find you and your dog pictures?
That's it, Matt Stoker 1 on Instagram. You can find me there. You can also find me on the Second Shot Facebook group. And whenever we premiere these videos on Monday nights, you'll find me there as well.
Yes, Monday nights are the video premieres. The episodes drop Fridays at 4 p.m. to kind of take you into the weekend and give you a little Monday motivation. You can find me at JennyAnchondo.com. Also, the Second Shot Instagram page. You guys, Instagram.com/Second Shot Podcast. It is so good. We're going to give everybody all the info there. And Heath's not here, but he's going to tell you, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars.
That's right. Yes.
All of those things, you go on iTunes. If you need any help, you shoot me a DM, and we will see you on Second Shot next time.
Awesome. Bye, guys.